There's a sacred moment when the world around you fades like morning mist, and then, only then, you hear the oldest whisper there is, the voice of your own soul. Edgar Cayce, the visionary who unlocked the mysteries of the human consciousness in deep trance states, taught us that when we stop feeding the external noise, when we allow the body to enter a reverent silence, something extraordinary happens. The soul, that eternal spark carrying the memories of all your journeys, finally finds space to manifest. And it is in this sacred silence that the greatest revelations of human existence unfold. Imagine for a moment that you are like an old shortwave radio. During the day, as you move through life, picking up frequencies of stress, worries, conversations, city noises, your tuning becomes confused, full of static. But when night falls, when you retreat to silence, when you allow your body to rest and your mind to quiet, something magical happens. The interference lessens, the static dissipates, and you begin to pick up a much subtler, much deeper frequency, the frequency of your soul. This is the truth of inner retreat that Edgar Cayce discovered in his more than 40 years of psychic readings. Our essential being can only communicate with us when we create the right conditions for this sacred communion. Have you ever noticed how your most accurate intuitions arrive in the quietest moments, when you're taking a long bath, walking alone in nature, or in those precious minutes between sleep and wakefulness? It's no coincidence. It's in these moments that the veil between the conscious and the unconscious becomes thinner, allowing the deepest truths of your soul to bloom to the surface of consciousness. Edgar Cayce called this an altered state of consciousness, a sacred portal where linear time dissolves and you can access information that transcends your current experience in this life. For years, I've observed people reporting mystical experiences that began precisely in moments of deep silence. Sarah, a 45-year-old executive, told me about a night when, exhausted after months of intense work, she decided to simply sit on her porch and gaze at the stars without doing absolutely anything. After about 20 minutes in this contemplative state, she began to feel a familiar presence, as if someone dear was beside her. Suddenly, with crystal clear clarity, the image of her grandmother, who had passed away when she was a child, came to mind. But it wasn't just a common memory, it was as if her grandmother was there, transmitting a message of love and guidance about important decisions she needed to make in her professional life. In the following days, Sarah made decisions based on this inner guidance, and her life completely changed for the better. Sarah's experience perfectly illustrates one of Edgar Cayce's central teachings: when we quiet the body and calm the mind, we create a sacred space where our soul can communicate not only with ourselves, but also with other souls, whether incarnate or discarnate. The sleeping prophet always emphasized that we are multidimensional beings, living simultaneously on various planes of consciousness. The silence of the body is the key that opens the doors to these subtler dimensions of existence. But what actually happens when the body enters silence? According to Cayce's readings, our nervous system, which is normally busy processing sensory stimuli and maintaining vital functions in constant activity, finally has the opportunity to enter a state of deep regeneration. It's as if we pause the program that constantly runs on our internal computer, allowing other, older and wiser software to manifest. These older software are the memories of the soul, karmic patterns, the lessons we came to learn, and the wisdom accumulated over countless incarnations. Edgar Cayce revealed that each soul carries with it a personal Akashic record, an ethereal library containing all the records of its experiences through time and space. When the body is in constant activity, this record remains sealed, inaccessible to waking consciousness. But in the sacred silence of inner retreat, the seals open, and we begin to access information that can revolutionize our understanding of ourselves and our life purpose. Think how many times you've had powerful insights during moments of quietude, that creative solution that came during a solitary walk, that deep understanding of a relationship that came during meditation, or that inner certainty about which path to follow that emerged during a restful night's sleep. These aren't random events. They are moments when your soul managed to pierce the veil of ordinary consciousness and deposit in your waking mind a fragment of its eternal wisdom. One of the most fascinating aspects of Edgar Cayce's teachings on the silence of the body is how this state can connect us with our past lives in a natural and healing way. When we allow our nervous system to completely quiet, our soul has the opportunity to process and integrate experiences from other incarnations that may be influencing our current life in ways we can't imagine. Mark, a 28-year-old musician, always had an inexplicable fear of performing in public, despite being extremely talented. During a silent retreat he took in the mountains, on the third day of profound quietude, he began to have very vivid visions of a past life where he had been a musician in the court of a medieval king. In this previous life, he had been falsely accused of treason through his songs and publicly executed. The memory of this traumatic experience was creating an energy blockage that manifested as a fear of artistic self-exposure in his current life. After integrating this understanding and doing emotional healing work with this memory, Mark was able to completely overcome his fear and is now a confident and successful performer. This story shows how the body's silence can be a powerful tool for karmic healing. Edgar Cayce always emphasized that we don't revisit the past out of curiosity, but for healing and growth. When our soul accesses memories of past lives during deep states of stillness, it's offering us the opportunity to resolve old patterns that may be limiting our growth in this incarnation. If you're following this journey of discovery into the mysteries of inner silence and resonate with these revelations about how our soul communicates with us, I invite you to join our community of spiritual seekers. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because every week I share profound knowledge based on the teachings of Edgar Cayce and other great spiritual masters. You won't want to miss these revelations that can completely transform your understanding of life and your evolutionary journey. By subscribing, you'll get priority access to exclusive content on memory regression, communicating with spirit guides, and ancestral soul healing techniques. Your soul is calling you to this transformation. Don't let this opportunity pass. The body's silence also connects us to the Akashic records more broadly, allowing us to access not only our own past life memories, but also the collective wisdom of humanity. Edgar Cayce explained that when our individual consciousness expands during deep states of stillness, it can tune into fields of information that transcend our personal experience. It's as if our individual soul connects to the cosmic internet, accessing knowledge and insights that may seem to come from nowhere, but actually emanate from universal wisdom. Anna, a 52-year-old therapist, discovered this surprisingly during a period of personal crisis. After the end of a 15-year relationship, she decided to do a personal silent retreat at home, completely disconnecting from the outside world for a week. On the fourth day, during a session of silent contemplation, she began receiving what she could only describe as downloads of information about emotional healing techniques she had never studied before. This information arrived in her mind with astonishing clarity and precision, as if she were accessing a universal manual of soul healing. In the following months, Anna integrated these techniques into her therapeutic practice, achieving extraordinary results with her patients and completely transforming her professional approach. What Anna experienced is a perfect example of what Edgar Cayce called divine inspiration, moments when our soul accesses universal fields of knowledge and brings that information into our waking consciousness. The sleeping prophet always emphasized that we all have this capacity, but it only manifests when we create the right conditions of silence and receptivity. Another fundamental aspect of inner retreat is how it allows us to recognize and transform deep emotional patterns that often operate in our subconscious without us realizing it. When the body is in constant motion and the mind is always busy, these patterns remain hidden, influencing our reactions and choices automatically. But in sacred silence, they rise to the surface like bubbles rising from the bottom of a lake, becoming visible and therefore transformable. Edgar Cayce revealed that many of our current emotional patterns have roots in past life experiences that haven't been fully processed and integrated. When we allow the body to enter deep silence, our soul has the opportunity to bring these repressed memories into the light of consciousness, not to cause us suffering, but to offer us the chance of healing and release. Robert, a 38-year-old businessman, always had extreme difficulty with authority, reacting disproportionately to any situation where he felt controlled or limited by figures of power. During a silent meditation retreat, he began to relive memories of an incarnation where he had been a slave on a plantation. The emotions of revolt, humiliation, and powerlessness he had experienced in that life were reactivated every time he encountered situations of authority in his current life. After processing these memories in the sacred space of silence, Robert managed to develop a new perspective on authority and power, completely transforming his professional and personal relationships. This capacity for healing through the body's silence is not limited to past life trauma. Edgar Cayce also taught that during these deep states of stillness, our soul can show us limiting patterns we developed in childhood in this current life, offering insights into how these patterns formed and how we can transform them. The body's silence is also a portal for communication with our spirit guides and soul mentors. Edgar Cayce always emphasized that each of us has a team of light beings who accompany us on our evolutionary journey, offering guidance, protection, and inspiration. But this communication can only happen clearly when we create the right conditions of receptivity and stillness. During deep states of bodily silence, our vibrational frequency naturally rises, approaching the frequency of the higher spiritual planes. It's as if we tune our inner antenna to pick up transmissions from a celestial radio station. Many people report experiences of communicating with deceased loved ones, angels, ascended masters, or simply with a loving and wise presence that offers guidance and comfort. Lucy, a retired nurse in her 60s, has developed a daily habit of dedicating an hour each morning to what she calls talking to the sky. Sitting in her favorite chair, with her body completely relaxed and her mind in a state of silent receptivity, she began to notice subtle presences around her. Gradually, these presences became more defined, and she began receiving specific guidance about her life and how she could serve others more effectively. Today, Lucy leads healing circles based on the guidance she receives during her moments of silence, helping dozens of people find peace and direction in their lives. What Lucy discovered is that when we allow the body to enter sacred silence, we not only connect with our own inner wisdom, but also open ourselves to receive guidance and support from higher dimensions of existence. Edgar Cayce always taught that we are not alone on our journey. We have constant access to a network of spiritual support that is always available, waiting only for us to create the conditions to establish that connection. One of the most transformative aspects of bodily silence is how it allows us to access expanded states of consciousness where we experience our true nature as infinite spiritual beings. During these sacred moments, the limitations of personality temporarily dissolve, and we remember who we truly are beyond the roles we play in this current life. Edgar Cayce frequently spoke of these states as unity experiences, where the sense of separation between the self and the universe disappears completely. In these moments, we experience such profound peace and love that all the worries and anxieties of daily life are revealed as temporary illusions. It's as if we awaken from a disturbing dream and realize we were safe all along. Michael, a 42-year-old physics teacher, had always been skeptical of spiritual experiences, but during a period of mourning the loss of his father, he began practicing daily moments of deep silence as a way to cope with his grief. During one of these sessions, something extraordinary happened. He began to feel as if he were expanding beyond the limits of his physical body, merging with everything around him. For a few timeless moments, he he experienced a feeling of absolute unity with the universe, understanding on a profound level that death is merely an illusion and that consciousness is eternal. This experience completely transformed his worldview and his approach to life, bringing him lasting peace regarding his father's loss. These experiences of expanded consciousness during bodily silence are not the privilege of especially gifted or spiritually advanced individuals. Edgar Cayce always emphasized that we all have access to these expanded states. We just need to learn how to create the appropriate conditions and have the patience to allow them to unfold naturally. Bodily silence also allows us to access our natural capacity for healing, both physical and emotional. During deep states of quietude, our parasympathetic nervous system is activated, initiating processes of regeneration and restoration that are impossible during states of activity or stress. But beyond physical healing, Edgar Cayce revealed that sacred silence also activates our capacity for energetic and spiritual healing. When the body is silent and the mind is calm, our vital energy can flow freely through our energy centers, dissolving blockages and restoring natural balance. It's as if we give permission for our own inner wisdom to perform complete maintenance on all aspects of our being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Patricia, a 35-year-old artist, suffered from chronic migraines for over 10 years. After exhausting all conventional medical options, she decided to try daily periods of deep silence based on the teachings of Edgar Cayce. During these sessions, she learned to consciously direct her vital energy to the areas of tension in her head and neck. Gradually, the migraines began to decrease in frequency and intensity. More importantly, during one of these silent healing sessions, she had a profound insight into the emotional causes of her headaches, which were related to patterns of perfectionism and excessive self-criticism. By working with these emotional patterns in the sacred space of silence, Patricia not only healed her migraines, but also transformed her relationship with herself. This capacity for self-healing through bodily silence is available to all of us. Edgar Cayce always taught that we are our own best healers because we have direct access to the source of all healing, our own soul, and its connection to universal divine energy. Inner retreat also offers us the opportunity to recognize and work with synchronicities and symbols that our soul uses to communicate with us. When the body is silent and the mind is receptive, we begin to notice meaningful patterns that would normally go unnoticed amidst the noise of daily life. Edgar Cayce explained that our soul is constantly trying to guide us through subtle signs, repetitive numbers, chance encounters with certain people, meaningful dreams, symbols that repeatedly appear in our experience. But to perceive these signs and understand their message, we need to be in a state of inner quietude and receptivity. During periods of deep silence, our sensitivity to these signs intensifies dramatically. It's as if we are tuning our perception to more subtle frequencies of reality. We begin to notice connections and patterns that reveal the loving intelligence that orchestrates our life experience. The power of silent contemplation. INT. Counselor's Office Day. David, a 46-year-old accountant, had always lived a practical, linear life, but during a career transition, he began practicing daily moments of silent contemplation. As his inner sensitivity expanded, he started noticing extraordinary synchronicities. Numbers like 1111 constantly appeared in his field of vision. He'd encounter people who had exactly the information he needed at precisely the right moment, and his dreams began offering clear guidance on important decisions. By trusting these synchronicities and following them like a sacred map, David discovered his true calling as a holistic therapist, completely transforming his life and finding a purpose he'd never imagined possible. What David discovered is that when we allow the body to enter sacred silence, our soul can communicate with us through the universal language of symbols and synchronicities. Edgar Cayce always taught that we live in an intelligent and loving universe that's constantly offering guidance and support. We just need to learn to recognize and interpret this subtle communication. The body's silence also allows us to consciously work with our dreams as a form of direct communication with our soul. Edgar Cayce was a pioneer in the field of dream interpretation, revealing that our nightly dreams are a natural continuation of the soul's communication process, which can begin during periods of daytime silence. When we cultivate the habit of entering deep silence before sleep, we prepare our consciousness to receive clearer and more meaningful messages through dreams. It's as if we're tuning our dream antenna to pick up sharper transmissions from the spiritual world. During pre-sleep states of silence, we can ask our soul specific questions and trust that we'll receive guidance through our dreams. Edgar Cayce always emphasized that dreams are one of the most direct and accessible forms of communication between our waking consciousness and our inner wisdom. Claire, a 39-year-old psychologist, developed a powerful practice based on this teaching. Every night before bed, she dedicates 15 minutes to silent contemplation, during which she formulates a specific question about some aspect of her life that needs clarity or guidance. After months of practicing this technique, she developed an extraordinary ability to receive precise guidance through her dreams. This guidance not only transformed her personal life, but also revolutionized her therapeutic practice, as she began receiving profound insights into how to help her patients more effectively. This connection between daytime silence and communication through dreams illustrates how our soul is constantly trying to guide us, using every available channel to transmit its wisdom. When we create regular spaces of silence in our daily lives, we amplify our ability to receive and integrate this inner guidance. One of the deepest aspects of inner retreat is how it allows us to directly experience our eternal nature as immortal souls. During deep states of bodily silence, temporary identifications with our body, personality, and circumstances of this life can temporarily dissolve, revealing the timeless essence we truly are. Edgar Cayce always emphasized that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but spiritual beings having a human experience. The silence of the body offers direct glimpses of this fundamental truth, allowing us to experience our identity beyond the limitations of time and space. During these moments of recognizing our eternal nature, many people report a feeling of coming home, as if they're remembering something they always knew, but had temporarily forgotten. It's an experience of profound peace, unconditional love, and wisdom that transcends any intellectual knowledge. Richard, a 51-year-old engineer, described a transformative experience he had during a period of deep silence on a mountain retreat. After hours in a contemplative state, he began to feel as if he were expanding beyond the limits of his body and personality. Suddenly, he saw himself as a conscious spark of light, floating in an infinite ocean of love and wisdom. In this state, he understood with absolute certainty that his essence was never born and will never die, that all the experiences of his multiple incarnations are merely temporary chapters in an eternal journey of evolution and growth. This experience fundamentally changed his relationship with life and death, bringing him deep peace and a renewed sense of purpose. These experiences of recognizing our eternal nature are not rare or special events. They are available to anyone who sincerely dedicates themselves to the practice of inner silence. Edgar Cayce always taught that these expanded states of consciousness are our birthright as children of the divine. The silence of the body also allows us to access what Edgar Cayce called the universal mind, a field of collective consciousness containing all the wisdom and knowledge of humanity. During deep states of quietude, our individual consciousness can expand and connect with this infinite reservoir of information and insights. This connection with the universal mind can manifest in various ways: creative insights that seem to come from nowhere, innovative solutions to complex problems, profound understandings of universal truths, or simply a feeling of being connected with all of life. It's as if, in sacred silence, we can access the cosmic library and download exactly the information we need for our growth and service. Teresa, a 44-year-old writer, had always struggled with writer's block, but when she began dedicating daily time to silent contemplation, her creativity exploded in ways she'd never experienced. During her periods of quietude, complete stories began to flow through her consciousness, characters developed lives of their own, and profound insights into the human condition emerged naturally. She described the feeling as if she were being a channel for a creativity that came from a source far greater than her individual mind. In the following 2 years, she wrote 3 critically acclaimed novels, all inspired by insights received during her moments of sacred silence. This ability to access fields of universal creativity that gained wisdom through the body's stillness is available not only to artists and writers, but to anyone in any field of activity. Edgar Cayce always taught that we all have access to this infinite source of inspiration and knowledge. We just need to learn to tune into it through the regular practice of inner retreat. As we develop a consistent practice of bodily stillness, we begin to notice profound changes not only in our inner lives, but also in how we relate to the world around us. Sacred silence teaches us the art of true presence, the ability that came to be precise and aware in each moment, without the constant need to do, speak, or think. This quality of presence that we develop in silence naturally extends to our relationships and daily activities. We begin to listen to others more deeply, to perceive emotional nuances that previously went unnoticed, and to respond to life situations with more wisdom and compassion. Edgar Cayce always emphasized that the ultimate goal of any spiritual practice is not to escape the world, but to bring more love, wisdom, and healing to our earthly experience. Bodily stillness is not an escape from life, but a way to prepare ourselves to live with more fullness and purpose. When our soul can speak through sacred silence, it teaches us that every moment of life is an opportunity for growth, service, and love. Every human interaction becomes a chance to express our divine nature. Every challenge reveals itself as an opportunity for evolution, and every day transforms into a new page in the sacred book of our spiritual journey. Inner retreat isn't just a practice, it's a lifestyle, a way of being that honors both our humanity and our divinity. It's the recognition that amidst the noise and rush of the modern world, we always have access to an inner sanctuary where our soul can manifest freely, offering us the guidance, healing, and love we seek. When we allow the body to enter sacred silence, we are not simply resting or relaxing, we are participating in one of the most revolutionary acts possible. We are choosing to listen to the wisest voice there is, the voice of our own eternal soul. And it is in this sacred listening that we discover not only who we truly are, but also why we are here, and how we can contribute to the healing and evolution of the world. Bodily chained to fires, we chain to fires much more than a relaxation technique or a spiritual practice. It's a portal to the deepest dimension of human existence, where we discover that we are far more than we ever imagined ourselves to be. It is in silence that our soul finally finds its voice, and it is through that voice that we find our way back home, to the eternal truth of who we always have been and always will be. In this sacred moment of recognition, a question arises from the silence of your own soul. If you allowed your body to find sacred silence every day,
What truths would your soul whisper in your ear, and how would those truths transform not only your life, but the entire human experience on this planet so desperately in need of love and wisdom?